So today I'm going to explain why I believe the top is in for the stock market at 5,800. Now, I'm very confident in that. Going into the election here in October, we have topped in the stock market. What I don't know, right, is how long does this top last? For example, this top in the market lasted for 287 days of downtrend, and it took over 700 days until you took out that high. This was a top. It wasn't the forever top, right? Like, this is a top. Can we all agree on that? Okay, if you said right here, I think the market's going to go lower from here, that was a top. It lasted for 100 days, and it took over 140 days until you beat that top again. So once again, I think much like this and much like this, right? These 2 points in the chart, I think we are yet again at another top. Now, here's the question. How long does that top last? Because, over here it lasted 300 days. Over here it lasted 100 days. This one could last 50 days, could last years, okay? But what I'm confident in is this specific pivot point like here, and like here. That's your top in the short term, which could actually be a very long-term top, and I'm going to explain why in this video. Guys, I'm going to show you patterns which could lead to our downfall and absolute destruction of my net worth. As you guys know, I hold over $10 million in meme coins. Here's just one wallet here where I have $5.8 million of my favorite meme coin this cycle, which is Brett. By the way, to anyone who wants to say over $10 million in meme coins, but it's not liquid, bro, it's as liquid as your house, if not more liquid. If you have a $5.7 million house and you want to sell it, you think you're going to get $5.7 million for it right away? Hell no. You're going to get undercut. You're going to get low balls. It's going to take you months, if not a year or more, to sell your $5.6 million house. So if you wanted to sell your house quickly, you'd have slippage on it. Same thing with a meme coin and like this position of Brett I have here. Yeah, at the moment it's worth 5.8, 5.7 with slippage. If you want to get out instantly, you don't want to sell, slowly, gently, responsibly, intelligently, you're going to lose money to slippage just like you would on any transaction, really. You want to sell your car fast? You're going to have slippage. The fact is, I could get myself almost $3.6 million liquid in a second right now if I click a couple buttons. And you guys know I have over $1 million in multiple other meme coin trades like Ponky, like Tronbull, like Pepe. So yes, guys, when I say I can get $7 million plus out of my meme portfolio liquid, I mean this second, should I choose to sell. But I refuse to, and I'll explain why in this video, everything. Why, even though I just see this being the top in the market, why I'm not selling any meme coins right now. Why would I make that decision if I think it's the top in the stock market? I'm going to go over patterns. I'm going to go over Bitcoin and the way it reacts to pre-election months for the stock market. Guys, watch this video. It's going to be long, but most likely it's going to be worth it for you if you're not a total dork. Okay, watch the video. Okay, I think this meme coin, when Bitcoin goes to $150,000 plus, I think you're going to see this at a 20 billion plus market cap, over a 20x plus here easily. That said, if the market crashes, you can forget all your bubble predictions and targets for crypto assets and meme coins. It's not going to happen if the world is falling apart and the market's crashing, right? Same with Bitcoin, same with everything. Nothing is going to do well if the market is absolutely crashing down to something like 3,800, 4,000. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to explain to you, first off, why am I so confident that this is the top at the very least for the short term in the market? Second, how this could actually turn into a very long-term top that could actually take us years to recover from. So I want to start off by pointing out to you a pattern, which is the fact that every single time in September and October, the stock market pretty much tops in, going into the election. So go with me right here, right? In 2020, going into the election, the market tops and it drops in September and October. It has a roughly 9 to 10% drop here in September and it has roughly here another 8 to 9% drop in October. So once again, what I mean by it tops, bro, these are big drops happening going into the election, and if you're bullish, you're losing money in those months, right? Obviously, it depends on your entry, but we can be very clear. If you bought in September, October, you're not making money in those months, okay? Now, let's go back to 2016, okay? And you will notice the same thing happen, right? In 2016, the market does what? In September and October, going into the election, once again, you do not make a single penny being bullish on this market going into the election, September, October of 2016. What happens? Goes down, right? You can see what it does going into the election. And then November, it bottoms and it's up only from there. Okay? So 2 for 2 right now. You've seen what? September and October, you don't make a penny if you're bullish. But in November, the market goes up only. Right? You don't make a penny if you're bullish September, October, but November comes around, up only, and it's bullish. Let's keep going. So back in 2012, September and October, what do you notice? The stock market tops and it drops going into the election, and the market bottoms in November and starts to make its way back up, and it hits and breaks those highs only in January to February of the next year. But once again, September, October, the market tops, it drops. That is a top, guys. Okay? That is a top. It goes down 9%, and it takes a while to recover and make that new high. Okay? Now let's go back to 2008. What happens here? Same thing. September and October, the stock market is, you're not making a penny if you're bullish, right? Obviously, it topped up here, but it's topped there too. Like, you buy in September, October, it is up. It is not the exact top, but it's topped, right? It's going down. If you buy in October, what happens? You buy it here and it goes down. How long does it take to recover? Guys, first off, you drop for 160 days, and it takes you over 470 days to get back to those levels, okay, of September, October going into the election. Let's take this another 4 years earlier, and in 2004, you'll notice this, right? The same pattern we were getting earlier in recent memory, which is a drop in September, a drop in October. So in September here, the drop wasn't so severe, but you're not making money being bullish. It drops around 3%, and then in October, okay, it drops 4%. Now this one is mostly actually just sideways, but it's a volatile, right? It's like down, up, down, up. But once again, in November, the market goes up only from there, okay? So you top in October, and, in this case, for example, and we won't even call this a top, but, it is volatility going into the election. So you set a top in October, and it takes you about 32 days to see new highs there, okay? The thing is about the stock market now is we're at all-time highs. Like, we are right at the all-time high, basically, okay? That's a big difference between this one and where we're at currently. Now let's go back to 2000. What do you notice? Same pattern, right? As almost every single time going into the election. September and October, man, it is not a good time to be a buyer of the stock market going into the election of September, October. And obviously this was also the dot-com bubble. So dot-com bubble pops going into the 2000 election. And so once again, you don't make a penny being bullish here, okay? Market goes much further. Lower. So what do you notice? What I'm trying to show you is that the S&P 500, nobody ever makes money buying the S&P 500 basically in the months of September, October going into an election. So I come back over here to the S&P chart right now, which is at all-time highs basically. And what it always does pretty much is you don't make any money buying in October going into election. So when I see something that's at all-time highs with bearish divergence, right? As the price is going up in the stock market, volume is decreasing, as you can see here, right? You can see as the stock market moves higher, the volume is going down. So 2 bearish divergences here, Market's trying to go higher, it's getting weaker. Market's trying to go higher, volume is decreasing. And to top it all off, you have this special pattern that I want to point out. And maybe special is the wrong word to use, but you have this right here. Top one, okay, which I'm going to zoom in on this with you so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, you have, and we're going to make this green. Okay, so you have top one into top two into an overshoot into top three here. All right, and so this right here is the exact same pattern you're seeing happen right now. Seriously, just look at it side by side and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so take that there, and take that there. Same pattern, right? Once again, you have top one, top two, overshoot into top three. Top one, top two, overshoot into top three. And as well, here you had what? Bearish divergence, and you had decreasing buyers on the way up, as you can see there. Okay, you can see as well here, right? Price is going up, volume is decreasing. Okay, so you have the same characteristics that led to a top going into 2022, which was lowering volume on the way up with decreasing strength on the way up, two tops into overshoot into a third top, two tops into overshoot into a third top, decreasing strength and volume. Okay, so the pattern is the same as 2022. Of course, circumstances are different. We're going into election now. But much like 2022, this was an all-time high setup. This was an all-time high top. And this is also going to be an all-time high top going into the election with the same pattern, same everything. Besides, we're going to election. But what's so cool about going into the election, guys, is that we see there's a pattern where every single time going to the election, September and October, nobody makes money being bullish on the market. Okay? So when you combine all these factors, I have extreme confidence that the top is already set in the stock market. It was set at 5,800. We are at the top, basically just barely off the top right now. You know, as I've been recording this video, it was at 57, 56, and it's been dropping while I've been recording and making this video. This is my second take actually making this video. So look, now that you know where my confidence comes from on why I believe the top is absolutely in on this market, what I can't know is the duration. How long does it take for us to recover and make a new all-time high from this top? Because it could be 60 days. You know, if you go back and look at these examples, right? Obviously, yes, the market loves to top going into the election. But, okay, right here, for example, and obviously this is no ultimate top or any major top, but like the point is that you're not making money buying the stock market going into the election. And so if we just look at what's the high in October, obviously here was the shortest time ever to actually get back to that high, which was about 30 days. But if you look at all these other examples, right, over here, man, holy shit, you know, September, October, going into election, how long does it take to get back there? 2,300 days. Let's go back to 2008. How long does it take to get back there? It takes about 591 days or 800 days, depending on, you know, the exact measurement there. Over here, you top going into the election. How long does it take after you top, right? So you drop for 70 days and it takes you another 130 days. As you can see, you're not actually making new highs until mid-January, late January, I'm sorry. Okay? So this is mid-late January making new highs in the stock market. Over here, right, you're not making new highs in the stock market post-election until as well about late December. Okay? So once again, the top is in over here going into the election, and it takes 80, 107 days to make a new high. From October, which is where we're at right now, right? It takes about, how long is that? 80 days to make a new all-time high. So let's keep it up. Let's keep going. Once again, if you say you set the top in October here, how long does it take to make a new all-time high? About 33 days before you make a new all-time high and recover in November. So what am I trying to get at here? First off, you ain't going to make no money buying the stock market in October. And not only just based off of that tendency, which the stock market likes to do, which is top in September, October going into the election, right? What that's not including is this pattern that we're repeating right now, which is a bearish topping pattern with bearish divergence, with bearish volume divergence, right? So everything lines up for this to be the top in the short term. Here's the thing. This could unwind into a long-term top like we saw in 2000, like we saw in 2008, right? The dot-com and real estate bubble, right? So this is the thing. Most of the time you see what? We top in October, and then guess what? The market is up only in November after that. But we've seen in 2 instances in the last 24 years that after topping in October, the market unwinds down and the bubble pops, right? So this is what I want people to be aware of. This is what I want people to understand, is the market is topping. We don't know for sure, right, whether this will be an easily erasable dip, or could this actually just end up being a very long-term top of a year plus. It could actually take years before we ever break this top. That's what's so crazy about this, because when absolutely nobody expects it, you could be setting the ultimate top for a long time. Also, though, once again, you know what's interesting? What plays into and ties into this? You know how a lot of people say, well, if the Democrats win, the world's going to go to hell and shit's going to get really bad. And so that ties in very well with the 2008, with the 2000 scenario, right? Kamala wins and you start to get what? Take this pattern over here and you start to get something like that playing out again. Now, this is obviously speculation. This is, this scenario could happen with Trump winning too, right? You got to realize that. I'm matching up the narratives that people are spreading about the world. They're saying, hey, if Kamala wins, the market's going to go to shit. If Trump wins, the market's going to be so bullish. The reality is this could actually happen with Trump winning. It could happen with Kamala winning. We actually don't understand the factors happening around the world. Truly, there's too many factors going on in the world for you to know. Like the entire world could collapse and go to shit with Trump winning or Kamala winning. You don't actually know. What you do know, though, is that there's an incredibly high chance that the top is right there. That's what I believe. The top is here. What I don't know is that, is it going to be like most of the time where, we top and then we just recover and go up only in November? Or we top and the end of the world starts to come in like 2008 or the dot-com bubble? To me, what lines up very well with this is that, yeah, if the Democrats do win, this bubble pop, that's the ultimate top for a long time, that nobody is thinking about that right now. No one is expecting that, and that can happen, right? That starts to make a lot more sense. Now, if Trump wins, well, think about that. Everyone thinks, well, Trump comes in, he prioritizes the stock market's going to be so bullish. See, if Trump wins, that's far more likely in line with the scenario that we go up only after November. Now, personally, I don't fall for the propaganda that people love to spread, which is that if Democrats win, that's it. The market's fucked. Because we saw, right, when Biden won over here in 2020, the market went up like crazy. Obviously, there were stimulus checks and it was a crazy bubble. But regardless of Biden and Democrats winning, and people love to say, oh, if they win, it's over. The market went raging bullish. So I don't buy into that propaganda, except when I actually look at the charts and I actually look at how this has played out for the last 24 years. It seems far more likely that actually a Democrat win lines up with the end of the world scenario. Now, like I said, the end of the world can still come with Trump being elected too. Just know, we can't know with certainty, all these things in the future. All I can know and have confidence in is this pattern and the tendency of the stock market to top going into the election. So what you can do is be bearish on the stock market from this point and know that what we typically do is we recover 45 to 100 days after to a new all-time high from the top being set. But in 2000 and 2008, we saw things unwind down way worse. So basically the way I look at it is the top is in. It could take us as soon as we could be getting back to this all-time high. We could be getting back here in late November to December to January. But I am very aware that while no one thinks it's possible, while no one sees it potentially coming, the ultimate top could literally just be in, you know? And so obviously no one expected that in 2008 or in 2000. People were high off life, high off making all their gains, in 2000. No one saw it coming, did they? I mean, I know some people saw it coming, but the point is, we could be right here, and I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't actually be shocked. I mean, look at the market. It goes up only forever. And, it really wouldn't shock me. So what will happen to people like myself? Well, here's the thing. If we get the typical reaction after an election, which is that the market quickly recovers starting in November and gets back to all-time high by end of November or December, January, right? If we have if this is the top for 1 to 3 months, we're going to be A-okay in crypto. Okay, we're going to be just fine in crypto. Where we're fucked is if this top is not a short-term top, and obviously it unwinds down into something much more serious than we thought. Here's what you have. This is the top, or at least I believe with such strong confidence that's the top. I just don't know if this is going to be a short-term top or if it's going to be truly has the potential to unwind into something way worse than we thought. But the fact that you can even know that that's the top, that's the takeaway, bro. How many people can know with confidence that the top is in? I know the top is in. I just don't know how long it's going to last. You see what I'm saying? But the top is in. Like, you won't be caught off guard. You won't be surprised. You won't be fucking caught with your pants down completely. You won't be completely naked, totally not seeing this coming from 8 miles away potentially, Like, this could be the top. But the typical pattern and tendency after elections, we recover pretty quickly after. So, to me, man, I just, obviously I wish I knew for sure, but all I know is that I believe the top is in. And so, we'll play it month by month, but I know that minimum, we will not see a new all-time high in the stock market until late November, I believe. Okay? That's my bet. That's what I can tell you definitively. We won't see a new all-time high, I believe, until late November at the earliest. Top is in. Okay? Top is in with the potential to be a short-term top or get into something much worse than anyone expected, And so check this out. The dollar, right? People think, okay, U.S. is lowering interest rates, meaning the dollar should weaken, right? The dollar should go down if the U.S. is lowering interest rates, is what most people think. Obviously, there's so many factors in play in the world, like other countries lowering interest rates, which is actually strengthening the dollar too. But on the surface, most people think, well, if other countries are lowering their interest rates, besides Japan is raising. But I think China, just did the largest rate cut, and their market's pumping like crazy. But, most people here at the bottom, right here, were thinking that the dollar was going to break down and the bull run was about to begin. And what does it do? It counter trade wins. Right? While everyone thinks the dollar is going to break down, it pumps up, and it's pumping like a motherfucker, right, on this chart. So just keep that in mind. This is the bottom of the range. This is the top of the range. The dollar looks bullish right now, which is overall not good for the market. So that is not what you want to see for the big bull market that everyone's preparing for. So obviously, once you start to break down, that's when you're really, in my opinion, in a confirmed bull run, like the euphoric, beautiful part of the bull run where you make stupid money easily in crypto. But right now, dude, everyone thought the dollar was going to break down. It's not breaking down. You should see my messages with people. You should see, I called this out in my Telegram. I said, everyone and their mothers is loading up max bullish right now. Everyone thinks the dollar is going to break down and the bull run begins. And everyone and their mothers is screaming for October. Now, I entered a short position here, luckily. I'm up around $260,000 on the short. But once again, man, I am making way more money when the market goes up. Believe me, I am losing my ass when the market goes down. Thank God I could hedge a little bit and make a little bit on the short side. But believe me, I will lose way more money if the market goes down than I will make on this short. So obviously, I'm not positioned the best right now. But, at least I got a hedge there and I got a hedge on another account. But the point is to not be caught completely off guard if things got way worse than you expected from this specific top. Because, man, tops happen. Like, top tier, we dropped for 2 years almost, or 1 year and then 2 years to recover, right? Top tier, it takes us 140 days to recover. It's like when you have a top, dude, of course we could recover in 50 days. It could also take us a long time to recover. Are you prepared for that? Now, the market's just been going up only so easily. It's like you guys forget that, hey man, crashes and some strong corrections do happen. Like obviously you had COVID here. Okay, and from the COVID crash, it took you another 690 days until the next crash. Now, how many days has it been since our last crash and top? It's been 1,000 days without a true major crash. Like guys, we've went plenty of time without a due correction, like a serious one like COVID, like that one. Like if you don't think we could get one here over the next 6 to 12 months, like look, man, it can easily happen. And the worst thing you can do is be horribly, horribly, horribly positioned thinking that that's not even a possibility. I'm telling you, like the top is here and it could unwind into being way worse than anyone is expecting. It could also just be like a 50-day top and we'll be okay. Like, that's what I'm trying to make the point of, So, yeah, let's see how. Obviously, you had this top into a drop in 2008, and you went up after horrible pain. You have very little pain for a long time, and it took us 4,500 days until the next major crash. I mean, you could say this is a major crash, though. I mean, 15% is pretty big. These are some big crashes, but honestly, they look small. No, but those are actually pretty big. It just looks small because this was so big. So, yeah, never mind. Let's do this. From this crash to the next crash, 900 days. From that crash, right, to that crash, 460 days. From this crash to the next one, you could say 350 days. And this crash wasn't the worst, right? 11%. So it's just like, man, if you don't think, guys, we went 900 days since, the last serious downtrend or like pullback. Like, dude, now is not a bad time whenever you have this tendency of topping before the election. You have a potential Kamala win. You have a lot of people who are probably going to want to de-risk going into the election because they're uncertain of who's going to win. Right? The market's at all-time highs. You got bearish divergence. You got bearish volume divergence. You got so many factors and so much logical reasoning for why it makes sense for this to top at 5,800. Once again, do we recover in 50 days or within years? That's the part we don't know for a fact right now. But the common tendency, once again, is after the election in November, we usually go up only. So it does make sense that the Trump victory is far more in line with us recovering and being good from November and beyond. And the Democratic victory would go very well in line with things get way worse than anyone or most people are expecting and we get fucked. So here's the good news, somewhat, is that in all the situations where the stock market topped in October going into election but quickly recovered in November or December or January, in all those cases pretty much Bitcoin has been unaffected by the volatility going into the election. And so, if the market recovers quickly after this election and it's hopefully a Trump victory, then we're good. So once again, this is the top. It's just we can't really know the severity, or at least I don't right now, of the consequences of this top, right? Once again, is it just a short-term, 50-day to 150-day top, or does it unwind down way worse? Here's the thing. If crypto shows strength through the pre-election volatility, I'm going to be led to believe that it is doing what it's always done, and that the market is going to strongly recover after the election. Now, if crypto is selling off like a motherfucker with the volatility and it's reacting horribly with the volatility, that to me is going to be a sign of weakness. Why? Because every other election that Bitcoin has been around for, pre-election, that pre-election volatility of the stock market barely affected Bitcoin. It was actually, Bitcoin did great in those moments. So if we see pre-election Bitcoin is doing shit here, that's your bad sign. But if it just holds up and does solid, that's a good sign. That's what we're looking out for here right now for crypto. So what's performing good in my eyes through pre-election stock market volatility is if Ethereum just hangs out down here, man, without breaking down, like it just hanging out down here while the stock market's going ham, while people are unwinding positions before the election, that's so bullish, right? Bitcoin hanging around where it is. Meanwhile, all that pre-election stock market volatility is going and people are nervous, unwinding down their positions based on which candidate is going to win, is going to affect the outcomes and results of a lot of stocks and how they perform over the next 4 years, right? So once again, the more chill these hold up, the less they react to the stock market volatility, the more I'm going to be led to believe that, man, everything is totally fine. We're going to continue this bull run like we've all planned and expected. But yeah, I hope that makes sense, man. I hope, although, realize, man, this, world falls apart scenario can happen with Trump or Kamala winning. I hope you guys realize that, right? Like, if a domino is going to fall, it's not like Trump can just, save the world from collapsing. You realize there's so many factors in the world, and the United States is not the only one, right? So keep that in mind. Either presidential candidate could lead to a crash. So anyways, I think I've explained myself here for the most part. What I'm so confident in is that the top is in short term, and that short term top could turn into a long term top. That's the part I don't know right now, but I want credit for seeing a major crash coming from a mile away, should it come. But obviously, once again, the common tendency, quick recovery after the election. So just know that this is the top, though, for now, I believe, and I'll stand by that. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. I can't read the future, but I can only make my best guesses and try to predict it. And I have a pretty damn good track record of it. And I was really happy to make this video. And, I don't really make videos often, but sometimes things get me excited. And being able to potentially see something like that come, just having just a definitive confidence that the top is in for the stock market, and we could have a quick recovery or a horrible, long recovery. But at least I'm confident that the top is in. I'm not some idiot buying the top right now. You know what I mean? That makes me happy. And so last thing I should say, though, is obviously, look, Bitcoin was completely unaffected here. Through all the stock market volatility going into the election, Bitcoin was unaffected and going higher, right? You can see that here. Unaffected look at this. This is crashing, and look up. Bitcoin's going up. Let's go back over here to 2016, right? You'll see again, it's not loading here. I think that's because that's Binance. Bitcoin was unaffected. So that's the good news, is since Bitcoin's been alive, any stock market volatility pre-election has not really affected it too negatively at all. Actually, it's been able to hold up really well going into these elections. So, basically, summary here is if that, we get an extended, a top within a very extended correction, hey, Bitcoin, everything you know is going down. Okay? I believe. Because, and by the way, how would I think that? Because gold went down a lot when the 2008 financial crisis hit. All right, so let's go back here to gold. It shit the bed, right? And then obviously up only, and it performing, really well after the crash. But, gold went down in a financial crisis, so I think Bitcoin will as well. That's what you need to know, in my opinion. So if you have a financial crisis or some really bad shit, world falling apart, expect Bitcoin obviously to shit the bed, your meme coins, everything. But at least you'd be somewhat ready for it. But also at the same time, look, the common tendency, once again, quick recovery in November. Starting in November, you start to get back to that all-time high by end of November, December, January. So, anyways, tops in, bro. Drop a like, make sure you're subscribed. Hopefully you understand that our advantage is, at least in stocks, man, you're not buying the fucking top right now because you're confident this is the top. So you wouldn't be buying it. There's people out there in the world who are buying this shit at the fucking top. Why would you do that? Of course, yes, we can recover, earliest, in my opinion, 50 days from now. But I ain't going to be buying the fucking top, And, rest in peace to the soldiers that do. Hopefully the market recovers within 50 days for them at the earliest, in my opinion. But yeah, you're prepared. And, I said on Twitter that I'll be giving myself 2 chances to call the top in stocks this cycle. One of these chances I will use here in October 2024 for all the reasons I've shared. And yeah, basically though, I said for now, going to election, this is the top, I believe. But in 2020, 2016, 2012, crypto was completely unaffected by the shaky stock market going into election. I'm confident this is a short-term top in stocks at the moment. A 1 to 3 months top in stocks will be fine for crypto, right? We'll be fine. If it's just a 1 to 3 months top, we should be fine. Where this hurts us badly as crypto holders and people that are all the fuck in crypto is if this top that we see here ends up being the ultimate top and not just the 50 to 150 day top, So we're going to be watching that, and I'll try to keep you updated. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. But that's what I'm looking at right now. And once again, just have relief to not buying the top of the stock market right now, which is what I believe it is. And obviously, once again, if it's just a 1 to 3 month correction in the stock market, I think crypto is going to be fine. If it extends beyond that, that's where we're fucked. So final words on this. This video is not to scare you. If anything, it's to prepare you just in case, to be warned that this is the top short term at the very least. Of course, it could turn into something worse than that. But will I be selling my meme coins? Absolutely not. Here's the thing. I stand by the fact that I think Bitcoin is going to be trading at above $150,000 in the next few years. Few years is if that happens. And in the reality, in the next year or two, I believe Bitcoin will be trading above 130, 150K. If that happens, I'm going to make 20x plus minimum on meme coins. Now, 20x plus will change my life. Yeah, losing 50% will not, I'll be fine. Keep that in mind. Also, though, is I believe we should be able to see if crypto maintains a strength despite a market top being in on the stock market. That would be showing us the characteristics of the previous times where Bitcoin has been completely unaffected, right? Remember, the last 3 times Bitcoin was completely unaffected by the volatility. So if we see volatility in the stock market and Bitcoin is pretty much minimally affected over the next month or 2, then that to me would be a very good sign that it's like the other times where Bitcoin was unaffected. So what I want to see now is, look, stock market, be as volatile as you want. I want to see Bitcoin be minimally affected by the volatility of the stock market going into election. If it does that, then we're on track to be doing what we've always done. Now, if Bitcoin is reacting horribly to the volatility in the stock market and shitting the bed with the stock market, being volatile, that's a bad sign that the entire market is weak. So that's how I'm looking at this right now. So once again, I will not be selling any of my meme coins. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be waiting. And watching to see that this lines up with how we've always been playing out in Bitcoin in the past 3 elections. So, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Drop a like, make sure you subscribe. Remember, 20x plus higher in meme coins when Bitcoin's a 2.5x higher, that can change your life. Being down 50%, man, you can argue, oh, what if I sell and buy back in lower? But what if you sell and you don't buy back in lower? Was it worth missing out on a 20x plus to try and buy back in, lower? I mean, I'm not going to lie. This would be end of the world, but hey, man, you're probably fucked either way if that happens. So, I would personally, I'm thinking about the life-changing upside that is very easily there. And once again, tendency is that we recover after the election pretty easily usually. So, and by the way, obviously I've been so freaking bullish on Bitcoin since 15K, and I still am. I still have the same belief that we're going to see Bitcoin above 150K. It's inevitable. The thing is, the whole way up, I've been so bullish, as the stock market has also been. But this is what a lot of you should realize. I am not a G who is like, oh no, the stock market is crashing. Now I'm going to be possibly bearish. No. I am scared for all of us at what I believe could easily be a top, right? What I believe is short term. It's a minimum at short term a top that could unwind into a longer term top. You see, there's a difference between getting scared of a top at the top and instead of what people do is they turn bearish after shit's dropping. Okay. I am getting scared for others when shit is pumping, right? When shit is at the fucking peak going into the election, I think that's a time to be incredibly cautious. Of course, once again, we've seen that even when the stock market goes down going into election, Bitcoin has been able to hold up fine the last, what's it been, decade. So let's hope that remains the case. And if that remains the case, we're going to be looking good. Of course, once again, if things unwind down longer and worse than we expected, don't expect Bitcoin to hold up in a horrible situation like that. And man, forget your magic internet money, bro. You're not going to be making money in crypto or in stocks or in anything unless you know how to short. And even then, you're really going to short with your whole net worth? Hell no. We hedge. I got a little hedge. But you're crazy if you think I'm going to put my net worth on the short side. I'm putting my net worth on the fucking bull side because that's where the most money is going to be made always, even if you got to hold through a financial crisis or any shit that was unexpected. The real money, the meme coins and shit can go up 20x plus. The market can go down, 30% is considered as bad as it gets pretty much in the stock market, Well, recently at least, in the last couple decades. So yeah, I mean, the upside is always going to be way more in your favor on the bull side. So I mean, all I can do is hedge and really hope for the best. But I'm not sacrificing my positions at all on the bull side. No fucking way, man. I'm just gonna try to make as much money as I can if we do, if the stock market were to be worse than expected. But dude, I could be totally overreacting and over worried right now. That's what you gotta understand. That we could be totally fine. Like I said, November comes, we recover like we always do, and none of this fucking matters. But you just cannot be surprised if this short-term top actually did turn into a long-term top, man. I wouldn't be surprised, and that's why I had to spend fucking over 40 minutes talking about this, man. Because that could be crazy. That could wipe out so many people's fortunes, lives. So many people could be so fucked if they didn't see this coming. And, when you have reason to see and believe that, man, something of that caliber and magnitude could actually hit, and you have sufficient reasons and tendencies in the charts that are there to support that actually being a real possibility, man, it would suck for you to be on the complete wrong side or not even be thinking about it, And like I said, okay, so the last 24 years of presidential elections, 2 of them led to massive collapses, and 3 to 4 of them we recovered totally fine right after in November, But yeah, I mean, the last 2 major fucking crashes outside of COVID happened, election year. So keep that in mind, man. All right.